A couple of weeks ago, I was at the Entree Leadership event with Dave Ramsey and the Entree Leadership Group out in Nashville, Tennessee. If you don't know this group by Dave Ramsey, maybe you've heard his radio show. He is helping people with their finances, help them be financially independent. Maybe you've heard that syndicated radio show. Millions and millions of listeners, almost as many as this show, right? No, just kidding. So Dave is an awesome guy. And it's funny, I used to use him as an example with his debt snowball. If you don't know this concept, it's the idea that you want to create momentum when you're paying off debt. And so even though you might be rationally tempted to pay off your highest interest rate debt first, what he suggests that you do is pay off the lowest balance debt first. Because when you've got one less debt that you're in, one less vendor, one less bill to pay on a monthly basis, you're closing things out and you're starting to feel this momentum of getting debt free. And that's really important. And so I use the same example when you're documenting in your business. Go for the simple things first, or when you're strategic planning and collecting feedback from employees, go for the quick wins first, because that always creates momentum. If you always went for the biggest, meatiest projects without any quick wins, then you'd struggle to have this momentum that you can communicate to your team. So I'm getting into a tangent, but I've always been a fan of Dave and what he does. And so what I want to talk about in this episode is why this event was so good for us, why this sponsorship was so good for us, because we've sponsored a lot of events. I've presented at a lot of events, and this one was kind of different. It felt different. And I think it's because we approached it in a different way. And so if you're a business that goes to events, goes to trade shows, does any kind of sponsorships like we did, I want to talk you through the points that I think made this so successful. So the first thing is we had extreme alignment with the content that was being presented. They do a lot of events, but this particular event, the Master Series event, was for business owners and business leaders at companies with a lot of people, between 10 and 250 or 500 people. And they were working specifically on operations, how they run their companies better. So you can imagine a multi-day event on operations with business leaders of growing companies in those markets fits perfectly with what's presented at Trainual. And so it was a beautiful marriage there. And a lot of events that we show up at aren't so beautifully paired. And so the more that you can have alignment with the exact content that's being produced, the better you're going to do. If you know the speakers at an event and the topics that they're going to be speaking on, and 9 out of 10 of those topics is relevant for what your business delivers, that's going to be a good event. Whereas if all of the content is spread very thin at a particular event, and maybe only 1 out of the 10 pieces relates to your business, there's a lot less of that relevant thought going around in people's heads that make them likely to stop at your booth when they pass by. So make sure you've got extreme alignment with the content that's being presented, and figure out for this event, what are the speakers saying? What's the conversation going to be at this event? All right, number 2 was alignment with the audience. So I already mentioned this, but the people that were in the audience were our sweet spot for companies that use our product. And so again, a lot of events can be the wrong persona. It might be the right companies, but the wrong people from those companies. And so you've got to understand, is the ticket price something that matches up with the price what people would pay to buy our solution? Are the roles of the attendees, is it ownership? Is it more junior employees? Who are you selling to? Make sure that there's extreme alignment with the audience. Number 3, location. Location. If you're in retail, you know this. You know how important location is. But for those of you that are not in retail, this may be a lesson that you haven't learned. But when you go to buy a booth at a trade show or participate in an event, if you're not in a prime location that the traffic passes, then you could have a night and day experience at the event. In my first company, video production company, part of what we did was selling the live on-site videos that we would produce at events, and location was everything. And so I think I had the advantage of being in hundreds of arenas and venues around the United States and understanding where are the locations that people go to access food, or go to the escalator, or go into the main sessions, or go to the restrooms. And those high traffic locations, that's where you want your booth to be. And we had a fantastic location at this event. Next thing would be a money back guarantee. This is something we toyed with. This is the first time we've done this, but what I realized is that people want to take action when it's hot, when they're thinking about this, they're on site, they've got the problem, they're right in front of you. Why delay? Why put this off? You want people to take action. I remember that when I used to go to video conferences, they would have deals where they would be selling equipment or something, and it's an on-site only offer. on-site only. And it's a discount that feels unheard of because you've been looking at the product for, weeks or months before. And so offering some kind of on-site special is really important. But the objection there is, what if I don't have all the decision makers here? What if I change my mind when I get back to the office? Well, that's where you can use a money back guarantee and say, buy now and decide later. Buy now, and then make sure that you want to affirm that decision later with a money back guarantee. That's important. Okay, next, a top-down commitment. At this particular event, I flew out to Nashville for a few days. I was on stage to present. I was signing books and talking to people, and even writing little notes to people that I put on sticky notes at their desks where they watched. I was there, and I think that made a tremendous difference. There's a lot of events that I just haven't gone to that our team has been at, and I'm not saying that as an owner, as a leader, you need to go to every single event, but the more there is top-down commitment to the event, whether it's content you're sending, an offer you're making, or being there in person to speak or to offer some other value, it's going to make the event better. It's going to show the participants, the audience, the customers that this is a really cool opportunity. I don't usually get to talk to a CEO or a leader of this business, and I'm excited to get that business card instead of just the cold outreach from maybe a sales rep that I would expect. So some form of top-down commitment, leadership level commitment is really important. Next is the authority building. So at this particular event, I mentioned being on stage, and they mentioned my book, The Business Playbook, and they mentioned how it was a bestseller and how I'd be handing out copies in the lobby. And as soon as they said that, the traffic at our booth changed. People flooded over to the booth because they wanted to wait in line for a signed copy or a picture or something like that. And that makes someone's interest peak because they say, oh, this is something I should pay attention to. Let me go figure out what this is, because if they say it's important, it must be important. So figure out how at an event you can build authority by having the event organizers set you up and explain why you're such a good deal. Maybe they use your product or service. Maybe you've got some celebrity endorsement or some testimonials or case studies, but we were able to point to people in the audience that use our product. We got the endorsement from the people on the stage, and we got the benefit of my book and me being there. And all of that created this perfect storm of authority that people were more interested. And then the last thing here is immediate action. I mentioned this before, but if there's no way for people to take action and actually buy from your business, then you're going to collect a lot of leads that slowly just dissipate and fade away, and you're going to wonder why you did the event. You want people taking action on site, whatever that action is. It might be setting an appointment with you if you've got a longer sales cycle and something that really needs meetings. It may be getting that contact information of a key person and getting them on the calendar. Or if you've got more of a transactional product or a lower price point, it may be buying right on site, but you want people to take action. And this is one area where we could have improved. We could have had more stations where people could actually sign up, and we would have taken more orders because we would have moved through the line faster at our table. So this is one area we're going to improve in the future. But if I was just to summarize real quick, make sure that the content of the event is right. Make sure that the audience, especially the attendees, the people, are right for your business. Pick a location that's really high traffic. Specialize with some kind of offer, some on-site offer, and think about that money back guarantee if that makes sense for your business. Have top-down commitment. Have people there that your prospects are excited to talk to. Build some authority at the event. Get them looking at you and wondering if they should learn more about you, and then have some way for your people to act. It was a great event for us, an incredible community. We love working with the EntreLeadership people and sponsoring their podcast. So we'll do a lot more events like that, but I wanted to share why this worked for us because I think these tips are universal and can work for your business too.